A petition to legalize recreational marijuana has been rejected by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. Oklahoma is set to reach record temperatures today, and President Joe Biden has made an appearance at the UN Assembly today in New York. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Parker Abels.
And I'm Cameron Joyner. We begin tonight with breaking news. The Oklahoma Supreme Court has ruled that the petition to legalize recreational marijuana will not be on the midterm ballot. OU Nightly's Pepper Papura has been following this story and joins us live with the latest. Pepper.
Cameron, Parker, State Question 820 would have let voters decide if recreational marijuana should be legalized. Without the question on the ballot this fall, Democrats may have a more difficult time getting voters to the polls. The on 820 campaign organized the petition and submitted the required signatures on time. But delays during the counting process created a time crunch to get the question printed onto the ballot.
The length of time it took them to count the signatures and this state election board secretary having a deadline that he picked, which isn't in law anywhere.
The question will still appear on a future ballot, but Democrats hoped to get the question added this cycle.
What this does for the electorate is provide us a lot of untraditional voters and a lot of young voters who are interested in direct democracy.
Recent polling data is already indicating that the midterm races will be competitive, with Joy Hoffmeister trailing Governor Stitt by only 1 point and Jenna Nelson ahead of Ryan Walters in the race for state superintendent. Democrats had hoped that adding recreational marijuana to the ballot could push them ahead.
You know, it's a game changer for our race. I think that we have a decent chance now. There's a pathway to victory.
Without the question, it may be more difficult to mobilize a key demographic, young people.
I know a lot of people who have had friends or family be incarcerated for marijuana in the past, so I do think that it would be like something that would get more people to the polls.
We are waiting on a statement from the campaign that organized the petition, Oklahomans for Sensible Marijuana Laws. Once we've received that, we will post it to our social media. From the update desk, I'm Pepper Papura, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Pepper. Another breaking story today, record heat in Oklahoma. For this time of the year, it is incredibly hot. OU Nightly's Colton Williams is at the state fair where people are sweating it out. Colton?
All right, yeah, Oklahoma. Hey, we are hanging out live at the Oklahoma State Fair today. Got the essentials, lemonade, and lots of sunshine going on. Temperatures hanging out in the middle to upper 90s. Overall, actually turned into a pretty nice Wednesday afternoon here. I'll step out of the way. You can see, like I said, lots of sunshine, but we do have a nice southwesterly breeze keeping some of these flags whipping away. It's not slowing down any of the festivities here in Oklahoma City right now. Let's take a look at some of those temperatures across the Oklahoma City metro now. Looking at temperatures again, hanging on some middle to upper 90s, very seasonably above average for this time of the year. Some folks at or approaching the 100-degree mark here across the Oklahoma City metro. Now here in Oklahoma City, temperatures again hanging out middle to upper 90s. Elsewhere across the state, much of the same. Again, seasonably above average across the board. Here in Oklahoma, the blue numbers there, those are your wind gusts looking anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour. So overall, some spotty cloud cover and a nice breeze helping us feel much better here in Oklahoma City today. Now, as far as the record temperature being at 97, set all the way back in the 1990s, we did not break that in Oklahoma City today. We did get close, but again, thanks to some of that cloud cover and that breeze, we did not break the record high set in Oklahoma City again just over 20 years ago. All right, coming up in weather, we got a full State Fair forecast for you, as well as your first look at your game day. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to tell you about some cool downs coming up as well. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Colton. The record heat, though, has many Oklahomans looking for alternatives to keeping cool through the start of fall. OU Nightly's Addie Crawford has the drip on how to beat the heat.
A way to beat the heat.
With record temperatures, it's all about staying out of the hot sun.
There's no way you're going to sweat in here.
Christy Dowdy, co-owner of Norman's Play Pit, is putting a new twist on taking your kids to the park.
We have a huge indoor playground. It's 52 feet wide and 4 stories tall.
Letting your kids run wild while you enjoy your day off without even breaking a sweat.
We have a adult lounge for the parents, caregivers to come in to relax. They're the ones that have to endure the kids playing all day.
At a time where hitting your typical playground probably isn't the safest option.
Yeah, I mean, it's summer in Oklahoma.
IMSA's Adam Paluca stresses prioritizing safety when playing outdoors.
With these temperatures being 105, 108 degrees, parents and caretakers need to be extremely careful before they head outside to make sure that that child is going to be adequately protected from both the temperatures and any surfaces that could cause them bad burns.
But don't just take it from the adults, hear it straight from the source.
Yeah. No.
IMSA also advises making sure kids are wearing shoes and at the very least socks when playing on outdoor playgrounds.
Parents can take their kids there no matter the weather. If it's record heat like today, raining, snowing, kids can have the same fun while staying indoors.
U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine calls Putin's announcement, quote, sham referendum and mobilization. U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Bridget A. Brink has retweeted in support of Ukraine in light of Putin's partial mobilization announcement Wednesday morning. Brink tweeted, quote, sham referendum and mobilization are signs of weakness, of Russian failure. The United States will never recognize Russia's claim to purportedly annexed Ukrainian territory, and we will continue to stand with Ukraine as long as it takes, end quote.
President Joe Biden made his way to New York for a UN meeting today. Zoe has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
President Joe Biden attended the UN General Assembly today in New York. President Biden was one of the leaders to meet with UK Prime Minister Liz Truss to pay his respects to the late Queen Elizabeth II. The president spoke in part about avoiding nuclear war with Russia in the midst of their ongoing threats. The assembly will continue into this Friday. Former President Donald Trump has now been filed a lawsuit against him, his children, and the Trump Organization for tax fraud. New York Attorney General Letitia James claims the Trump family gave false information more than 200 times on financial documents.
We are asking the court, again, to permanently bar Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump from serving as an officer or director in any corporation or similar business entity registered or licensed in New York State.
Donald Trump has yet to respond. NASA engineers detected a liquid hydrogen leak during Wednesday's crucial fueling test for Artemis 1 moon rocket. The September 3rd launch was also prevented by a similar leak. The space agency wants to launch the rocket next week on an uncrewed 39-day mission. NASA hopes to send astronauts to the moon on Artemis missions in 2024 and 2025, then eventually crewed missions to Mars. The Washington Monument in D.C. was vandalized and now have crews working on it, getting it squeaky clean. Police have found the man responsible and is now in custody. Karen, Parker, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Zoe. Well, human smuggling into the country is a growing problem, resulting in hundreds of migrants' deaths. Vehicles that are made for 50 people are stuffed with over 100. They are brought in trunks of cars, vans, and other vehicles. Drivers sometimes get thousands of dollars per migrant.
So maybe a vehicle had 50 bodies in it years and years ago. They'll put 150 bodies in that vehicle.
In April, the Biden administration launched an effort to disrupt and dismantle human smuggling organizations.
Puerto Rico is hurting after being rocked by Hurricane Fiona.
Ahead, we have a look into the devastation and where Fiona might strike next. And a major disturbance in Boston today following a protest downtown.
We have more on what caused that protest and the chaos that ensued when we come back. Hurricane Fiona hit Puerto Rico earlier this week, leaving the country in devastation. Bailey Coyle has this and more in Earth Report.
Yeah, Parker, it's been 3 days since a Category 4 hurricane slammed through Puerto Rico, and tonight more than 500,000 people are still without water, and 350,000 are powerless. Those without water are standing in lines for hours to fill jugs from water trucks or scooping water from mountain runoff. Fiona is on track to pass close by Bermuda late Thursday and then hit easternmost Canada late Friday. A climate protest in Boston has caused traffic jams in the city. This morning, members of a group known as Extinction Rebellion Boston announced plans to march downtown. Their protest blocked traffic during the morning commute and led to 15 arrests. The group apologized for disrupting traffic, but said, quote, "This is an emergency and we need your attention." And heading across the globe, about 230 whales have been found stranded on the western shore of Tasmania in Australia. The Department of Natural Resources and Environment said that the whales appear to be pilot whales and that at least half are still alive. Rescue efforts are underway. In Cameron and Parker, 58 bison have successfully relocated from the Grand Canyon in efforts to manage bison overpopulation at the park.
Thanks, Bailey. Well, homecoming is right around the corner here in Norman.
That's right, and we have more on how organizations can register to take part in the event after the break.
And of course, as we've said, we're facing record temperatures here in Oklahoma today. Colton Williams is still live at the State Fair with more on what we can expect.
I think we're good. All right, and we are still live here from the Oklahoma State Fair looking at record high temperatures today. I've got your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. All right, welcome back to OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us live from the Oklahoma State Fair here on your Wednesday afternoon. Actually turned into a beautiful afternoon here across the Oklahoma State Fair. Temperatures are hot, don't get me wrong. We're talking about very much above average, in fact, near record-breaking temperatures. But overall, we're looking at beautiful blue skies and a southwesterly breeze looking really good here. Let's get to the weather computer now, talk about, again, some near record-breaking temperatures today. Today didn't quite break the record, fell about a degree short at 96 in Oklahoma City. Tomorrow is actually the first day of fall, and conveniently so. Cold front will roll through overnight tonight, bringing temperatures down to the middle to upper 80s tomorrow, just in time for the first day of fall. So again, looking live now at the Norman campus, beautiful back in Norman, Oklahoma. Again, beautiful blue skies, a couple of clouds hanging out overhead, but overall temperatures in the middle to lower 90s now. It is dry, thankfully, so the humidity not too bad. Overall, a southeasterly breeze feeling pretty good. All right, now for your State Fair forecast throughout the evening, this evening, the next several hours still be hanging out into the 90s. We will see this cloud cover hang around all evening long, middle to upper 80s by the 9 o'clock hour tonight after sunset. So overall, going to be a great evening, again, to get out to the Oklahoma State Fair. Still got several days to make it out here if you haven't. Again, the heat has not slowed down the festivities one bit. All right, overnight tonight into Norman, cold front will arrive. Middle to upper 60s is the temperatures overnight. We will see those winds shift out of the south to out of the north. Again, some cloud cover will hang out. Overall, no rain chances coming in with tonight's cold front. Tomorrow, much more seasonal day tomorrow. However, we still are above average. 86 for a high expected, so still feeling much better than we were this time today. And again, a few more cloud cover hanging out for the first day of fall. Overall, we'll take what we can get right now. All right, looking good now for our current big picture. All right, still hanging out underneath this high pressure heat dome. The jet stream really wants nothing to do with Oklahoma at the moment, but as we go throughout the next week or so, we do have a bit of a pattern change coming along the way. All right, so again, jet stream hanging out as we head overnight tonight into tomorrow. We'll see cold front number 1 roll through. That's going to help cool us down again for tomorrow. Before then, a quick rebound back into the 90s for Friday and into Saturday. Game day Saturday going to be very warm. Before then, cold front number 2 rolls through for Sunday morning. Temperatures looking great. Lows in the 50s coming on next week. All right, so again, next several days overall looking pretty good, even though we'll still see several days above average temperatures. And again, yeah, we're going to hang out above the average line for the next week or so, but we're not going to be quite as much above average as we were today with those two cold fronts getting ready to roll through. Now, one thing to keep in mind if you are getting out to the state fair, UV index, especially when the sun is out, can be dangerous at times, especially for game day on Saturday, looking very high for a UV index. And hey, speaking of game day, overall still warm, especially for the tailgate. 7 o'clock kickoff, going to be looking really good. Temperatures in the middle to lower 80s by the time we get to the fourth quarter. There's your 7-day forecast looking beautiful, middle to upper 80s today. 90s return for a couple days. 80s hang on next week with lows in the 50s. Parker and Cameron, back to you.
Thanks, Colton. Homecoming organization registration is now open. This is a new opportunity for organizations to register in the fall and participate in a celebrated week on OU's campus. They can sign up for events like Banner, Board, Chalk, and Sark After Dark. Organizations can register on OU Engage through the Campus Activities Council page.
So homecoming is kind of goes beyond just the students here at OU because it is a celebration of our athletes and all students here at the university, but also the alumni. Basically anyone that's been a part of OU's culture can really just come back to OU, engage, and just have a fun week.
Registration is open through this Friday, September 23rd at 11:59 p.m.
So I heard Oklahoma State's head coach gave us some insight on the future of the Bedlam rivalry.
Yeah, Sydney, what can we expect?
You've got that right, Parker. Mike Gundy had some choice words concerning the longtime rivalry game. And Aaron Judge is on the verge of history after last night's performance. We'll fill you in coming up on Sports. We've got sweeps, homers, and a man with a mullet. I'm Sydney Bush, and it's time for sports. Entering into conference play this weekend against Kansas State, Sooner football is gearing up to keep their winning streak alive against the Wildcats. OU Nightly's Addison Arthur has more on this week's matchup.
Coming off a 49-14 win against Nebraska last week, the Sooners will face Kansas State at home for their conference opener. Head coach Brent Venables said they're going to focus on the game plan and how to best prepare for running back Deuce Vaughn in the Wildcats.
They've got, tremendous playmakers at both the quarterback and the running back position, a super well-coached offensive line, and, excellent receivers. So it puts a lot of stress on you, puts you in conflict. Their ability, they're very, it's not just the scheme, but they're also really good from a fundamental and execution standpoint. And they understand defense incredibly well, too.
Kansas State is coming off a loss last week against Tulane, and the Sooners are looking for their fourth straight win. Kickoff is in Norman at 7 p.m. under the lights. Reporting from Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Addison Arthur, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Addison. The end of the traditional Bedlam football game has brought mixed reactions. Tuesday night, we found out what the Cowboys thought. Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy said, quote, "Bedlam is history. We all know that. We've known that because OU chose to follow Texas and the money to the SEC. It's okay." And on the diamond, sparking a ninth-inning comeback, Yankee star Aaron Judge hit his 60th home run of the season Tuesday night, ending in a 9-8 New York win. Joining fellow Yankees Babe Ruth and Roger Maris, Judge is now a member of an elite club as one of 6 players in MLB history to hit 60 homers in a single season. That sounds like a pretty exclusive club. Parker, Cameron, do you think they have a secret handshake or something?
Thanks, Sydney. They definitely have to. I would definitely agree with that.
I know that they do.
Well, when we come back, an interesting new perspective up in space.
We'll show you a look from NASA's newest gadget when we come back.
At the OU Nightly Update Desk, the Yes Gone 820 campaign has issued an official response to the court's decision not to add recreational marijuana to the ballot this fall. In their statement, campaign director says that they are, quote, disappointed the court did not grant our request. If you'd like to read more on the statement, visit OU Nightly's social media. Cameron, Parker, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, NASA is sharing a stunning view of Neptune and its rings taken by the James Webb Telescope. The telescope is providing a crisp view, and it's the first time NASA has seen them in infrared.
NASA says this is the clearest view we've seen of the planet in 30 years. All right, we're going to Colton Williams for one last look at the fair. Colton?
All right, Parker and Cameron, one more time live from the Oklahoma State Fair. A minute ago, I had the other essential with the lemonade. Today, now I got the chicken on a stick. That's all you need. Again, the heat not slowing down any of the festivities here across the Oklahoma State Fair. Let's get you one last look at your 7-day forecast. Temperatures hanging out middle to upper 90s today, 80s tomorrow before 90s return quickly. Cold front next week brings us back down to the 80s with lows in the 50s. Guys, back to you.
Well, thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Cameron Joyner.
And I'm Parker Abels. Good night.